The Guggenheim Museum is one of the most beautiful pieces of architecture that was built during the 20th century. It was designed by none other than fellow USC alumni Franco Gehry in 1993 and was opened to the public in Bilbao, Spain on October 19, 1997. Immediately with its opening to the public, the building was one of the most talked about buildings in the world of architects and brought international fame to the city of Bilbao. Construction of the Guggenheim Museum began in 1993, a few kilometers away from the Nervion River of the Basque region. At first, the Guggenheim Museum met with strong opposition by the people of the Basque region, but will later be accepted and celebrated as it breathed life into the city of Bilbao in the Basque region, and will be monumentally helpful to revitalizing the region. When first looking at the building, one cannot help but to be left in awe with the design, especially the form that the museum takes on. The museum looks like it has little weight, despite the fact that it is constructed out of metal. This goes back to Frank Gehry's fascination with paper and its form. The thinness of the building is a huge reason that when people see the building, they see the movement of the building rather than the whole shape of the building. Gehry could not design a building out of paper for obvious reasons, so he used metals that can imitate the functions of paper, thus explaining his extensive use of permanent materials such as titanium and metal. The inspiration for the design was the region itself. Since the site was near the Nervion River, which was a huge part of the region's economy, the building would be created to resemble fish scales, which was a long-time love of Frank Gehry since his childhood, and common theme in his other designs like the Walt Disney Concert Hall. And the challenge that Frank Gehry was met with was that of foreign architects designing a landmark in a place that he had not inhabited. Gehry was asked to build a Guggenheim in an urban zone that was full of traffic and trade zones. The site of the Guggenheim could have been considered a very raw, full of undeveloped or abandoned infrastructures, and of course the Nervion River. Frank Gehry would design the Guggenheim as a place in which it was not confined to a certain space. He designed the museum according to the volumes that each body makes and its relationship to other bodies. He also incorporated an extensive use of computers to design the museum. He could make three-dimensional figures of each volume to test out relationships he could make with other volumes. The Guggenheim Museum looks like a well-thought-out sculpture. It houses galleries, auditoriums, stories, and any other features that were around the world. The Guggenheim itself is a work of art, which would be detrimental to a museum, which in definition is to house artwork and not to be a work of art itself. In that sense, the Guggenheim does not accomplish what a true museum should be doing. As a landmark, though, the Guggenheim Museum is a very successful building. It is one of the most recognized works of architecture in the world, inspiring other architects to think outside the box, and illuminating the whole city of Bilbao in the Basque region, exponentially raising profit and employment in the region, making it a site of one of the most exciting pieces of architecture in the world, and a symbol of the well-being of the city of Bilbao. The museum redefined the modern architectural design and what a foreign architect could accomplish in a region that he had never inhabited. Gehry accomplished his goal of breathing life into the city of Bilbao, and that is why the museum is still talked about till this day. The Guggenheim Museum is one of the most beautiful pieces of architecture that was built during the 20th century. It was designed by